It's crazy to think that we're now nearing 2 years since Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The Western world, as well as some East Asian nations, reacted swiftly with sanctions. But this war continues to reveal the complicated, intertwined nature of international aviation and Russia's previous dependence on it. With all of this in mind, we thought it would be a good time to provide a large update on the state of the country's aviation sector. From seized aircraft to cancelled orders to cancelled partnerships, a lot has happened in the past year alone. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Let's first look at the state of cancelled orders by Russian airlines and the reallocation of those orders. Ordering aircraft can be a lengthy process, especially given the lengthy backlogs held by Airbus and Boeing. For Russia, this meant that a number of aircraft were partially built but made undeliverable due to sanctions. For Airbus and Boeing, new customers for these orphan jets needed to be found. So where did these aircraft go? Well, we know that at least 9 Boeing 737 MAX 8s have been reallocated to Qatar Airways, which had originally been ordered by S7 Airlines. A few more 737 MAX jets ordered by this Russian airline have also gone to Turkey's Anadolu jet. Early on, we also discovered that a few Airbus A350-900s ordered by Aeroflot would go to Turkish Airlines. A few more were later picked up by Air India and will retain their Aeroflot cabin seating due to supply chain issues. With new Western aircraft no longer incoming, it's clear that Russian carriers have had to adapt. Many of these airlines held on to Western jets that they were already operating, aircraft that were leases. Some jets were seized by lessors as they visited airports outside of Russia. However, many were also re-registered to Russia's aircraft registry. Indeed, many lessors essentially had their aircraft stolen from them. In March 2023, the Minister of Transport of the Russian Federation said that the government had set aside more than 300 billion rubles, or nearly $4 billion, for the purposes of purchasing foreign aircraft leased by Russian airlines. Notable purchases already logged include 10 Boeing 777-300ERs for Aeroflot, as well as 17 Airbus and Boeing aircraft with 5 spare engines. This latter deal saw a $645 million settlement between Aeroflot and Rossiya with major lessor AerCap. In April, Airbridge Cargo had been ordered by a district court in the US to pay an aircraft lessor a little over $400 million for going into default on leases. The leasing company BOC Aviation reportedly leased 3 Boeing 747-8 freighters to the Moscow-based airline. At the time of the court ruling, 1 aircraft had been returned but was missing parts. And speaking of missing parts, Russian airlines have had to find ways to service their Western aircraft amid sanctions on critical components. In April, we reported that the S7 Group, owner of S7 Airlines, had acquired a manufacturing facility which would allow it to produce, test and certify aircraft parts. This is one way countries facing sanctions have been able to continue their operation of Western aircraft, with Iran being a long-running example of this. Indeed, we'd also reported in April that an Aeroflot Airbus A330-300 was flown to Tehran for maintenance by Mahan Air, Iran's largest privately owned airline. Work was reportedly focused on the aircraft's landing gear. Russian airlines have also managed to acquire parts illegally. This saw carriers reportedly import approximately $1.2 billion worth of parts for Airbus and Boeing aircraft since May 2022. This was made possible through loopholes that bypassed Western sanctions. The customs data seen by Reuters revealed that Ural Airlines alone had imported more than 20 US-made equipment pieces, including Northrop Grumman devices, cabin pressure valves, cockpit displays, landing gear, telephone headsets, and toilet seats. These imports were facilitated by countries like Tajikistan, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, China, and Kyrgyzstan, according to the report. None of these nations have aligned themselves with Western sanctions against Russia. Another way to cope with aircraft and parts sanctions has been to access aircraft that were previously sitting unused. In April, we reported that a mix of Boeing and Airbus narrow bodies and wide bodies would be pulled out of storage to join Aeroflot's fleet. These aircraft were put away due to the sharp downturn in air travel caused by airspace restrictions imposed due to the invasion of Ukraine. Later in the year, we reported that Russia's Special Flight Detachment offered a local passenger airline the opportunity to purchase previously retired Tupolev Tu-204/214 aircraft. The aircraft were offered to Red Wings, which already operates the Tu-204. This type is a twin-engined, medium-range, narrow-body jet capable of carrying up to 210 passengers, similar to the Airbus A321. Reviving Russia's domestic aviation industry has been a focus for the government as well. In September, we reported that the Aeroflot Group, including Aeroflot and Rossiya Airlines, had decided to expand by leasing 18 Irkut MC-21s and 34 Sukhoi Superjet SSJ-100s. The expected delivery of the new aircraft is set for 2025. According to Aeroflot, this acquisition will empower the airline group to put its updated plans into action and sustain its growth trajectory. The aircraft will be in a quote-unquote import-substituted form, implying that Russian-made systems and components, including engines, will replace those from unfriendly countries. On that note, the import-free Sukhoi Superjet 100 successfully completed its first flight in September 2023. Commenting on this achievement, Russia's Minister of Industry and Trade, Denis Manturov, stated, "The first flight of the Superjet, created under the program of import substitution of systems and components, is the success of thousands of teams of enterprises in the aircraft manufacturing and radio electronic industries that are part of the management of the Rostec State Corporation." It's not just small Russian aircraft being developed for the domestic market either. In fact, the prototype of the IL-96-400M long-range wide-body passenger aircraft successfully completed its maiden flight at the start of November. The plane is manufactured by Voronezh Aircraft Manufacturing Company, a subsidiary of the United Aircraft Corporation of Russia. Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Denis Manturov, commented on the event, saying, "The first and successful flight of the modernized IL-96-400M demonstrates the highest level of competence of domestic aircraft manufacturers. The aircraft not only retained the high performance of the IL-96-300, but also received new operational and transportation capabilities." While Russia has a few new aircraft types in the works, the CR-929 will no longer be one of them. You may recall that this new widebody, reminiscent of the Boeing 787, was to be a collaboration with China. Yuri Slyosa, the chief executive officer of UAC, stated in late August, "All the prominent global technology pioneers who were engaged in collaboration with us and the Chinese on this venture have terminated their involvement." 2 months later, we saw further confirmation of this exit, with the Craic CR-929 being renamed to the Comac C-929. In case you didn't know, the CR in the model name stood for China and Russia. A lot more has happened, but there's your roundup of notable developments with Russia's aviation sector. From the news over the past year, it's clear that the divide between Russia and the West will continue to grow, with Russia finding ways to adapt and develop its own aircraft. What do you think of all this news? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.